The quality of AAA releases has never been more erratic than the present, with massive big budget flops such as Suicide Squad and Skull and Bones being the highlights so far. It can be tough to determine which developer to trust your hard-earned money. Hopefully, this video I have for you today will help alleviate that problem because Banishers Ghosts of New Eden very much deserves your support. From the developers of 2018's Vampire, Don't Nod, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is an action RPG set in the events of the 16th century during the colonization of North America, where spirits linger and haunt the living. Enter protagonists Red and Antea, Banishers that specialize in dealing with the paranormal who have been tasked with investigating a curse that has afflicted New Edentown. Not long after their arrival, however, little did the couple Banishers realize the severity of the situation until it was too late, resulting in Antea unfortunately losing her life and becoming a ghost herself. With the moral dilemma to either resurrect or ascend Antea into the afterlife, Red must venture all across New Eden to unravel its dark secrets and discover how to defeat the evil that holds it. With the aid of the now spectral Antea, Red must piece together past events that lead to the demise of New Eden to restore order and decide his dead lover's ultimate fate. The impressive feat that Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden achieves is how strongly integrated the narrative is to the gameplay. Red, who is faced with a difficult decision whether to uphold his duty as a Banisher by ascending Antea's spirit or to forsake it by performing a ritual that will return her to life after completing their mission, is a plot point that persists in the choices that you will make in the game. As Banishers, you will be taking on numerous cases that involve people being haunted by ghosts that are somehow tied to them. This is definitely the greatest strength of the game, as it is very clear that the developers focused on the strong narrative of these cases along with the main story. For one, the cases that you will encounter are hardly black and white, as the sinister plots that you will encounter are not as simple as the living are the good guys and the ghost is the bad guy, or vice versa. Rather, it is a mix of both the living and the dead committing atrocities, having the player think about what is right or wrong in a gray situation. To make it more interesting, Red and Antea will always have a personal stake in resolving these cases, because as I said earlier, the choices you make will affect the outcome of the Banishers. In order for Antea to be brought back to life, souls of the living will need to be sacrificed for Red to successfully perform a ritual to achieve that goal. So not only do you need to decide the fate of the living and the dead, but also take into account the need to harvest souls should you decide to bring Antea back to life, which will affect the ending of the game. To set expectations, the investigation gameplay is sort of hand-holding, as it entails opening up markers and checkpoints to slowly unravel events on how things went down, rather than a full hands-on investigation like the side quests of The Witcher 3. The storytelling of these cases, however, remain very engaging, with a strong, detailed, and compelling narrative that also provides player choice. There are a total of 5 endings depending on the decisions you make throughout your journey, and is without a doubt the best part of the game. The dynamic between Red and Antea is also well integrated into the game's combat, as you will have the ability to control both characters depending on the situation and timing. While Red has the ability to wield his sword for close quarter combat, rifles for long range targets, and the powerful Banish ability for tougher opponents, he can get defeated and will result in a game over should he perish. That is why the game features the ability to switch to Antea in battle, as not only will Red be protected when in a pickle, but she is also invulnerable and wields devastating abilities. The caveat is that the continuous use of Antea will require a resource called Spirit, which is measured by the Spirit Gauge. If the Spirit Gauge depletes, Antea will dissolve, and you will revert back to controlling Red until you replenish the Spirit Gauge. You can refill the Spirit Gauge in various ways, such as attacking opponents or drinking healing potions. Although combat can feel a little janky at times, the concept of swapping out characters in both combat and non-combat situations is not often utilized in the writing and gameplay for modern gaming, so it is quite a breath of fresh air to experience this level of strategic planning and timing in an action role-playing game. In terms of developing your characters, Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden is light on the mechanics and keeps things straightforward. The first way to strengthen Red and Antea is by acquiring skill points by leveling up or completing quests. You can then use these skill points to acquire new abilities in the skill trees. The highlight of this feature is that you can easily swap out skill points if you would like to allocate it to another ability without having the need to respec, unlike most other RPGs. The catch is that for every new ability you unlock, you will be given two variations of the ability or perk, but you may only choose one of the two options, allowing the players to develop the characters in accordance to their playstyle. Also worth noting is that some abilities will be locked until you reach a certain level, or you will need to invest 1 point for red to reach an ability you want for Antea, and vice versa. The second method to make the Banishers stronger is to acquire equipment for them, whether it is finding them in chests, purchasing them in shops, or completing quests. The acquired equipment can then be enhanced by obtaining various materials when exploring the world and applying them in camp. Speaking of camp, this is where you are able to replenish your healing potions, enhance equipment, allocate skill points, and fast travel. The fast travel system of Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden is akin to The Witcher 3. As you explore the world, you will encounter more camps, which you can then use to fast travel to other camps that you discovered in your journey. While the game world of Banishers is by no means as vast as The Witcher 3 or the open world Bethesda games, it does offer a landmass big enough to reward players with great loot should they decide to investigate hidden nook and crannies scattered throughout the world. On top of the cases, there are various hidden treasures that can be found throughout New Eden, from loot retrieved from treasure maps, cursed chests that require collectible idols to cleanse, or specters that you will need to defeat to strengthen Red and Antea. You will find no shortage of content in Banishers, as it is designed for players to take their time in immersing themselves into the game world. In addition to the semi-open world gameplay, one key differentiation of Banishers is that it locks players to certain areas of the map until they unlock a new ability which can be obtained by progressing in the main story. So if you are concerned with being overpowered by exploring the game world, know that this is mitigated by areas being locked out until you proceed further into the story. In the context of visual fidelity, Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden does not disappoint. Whether it is exploring the vibrant farmlands, dank swamps, icy mountains, and so on, you will find no shortage of gorgeous sights and vistas throughout your journey. Character models, textures, and particle effects also look great and are never tiresome to look at. Key locations such as villages and camps are distinct and never feel like a replica from one another. The only downside I experience in the graphics are some texture pop-ins with my RTX 2070. While not game-breaking by any means, I need to point that out. The sound design of Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden are great as well, as given its ominous premise, most of the tracks leave an eerie and disturbing vibe, breathing life into the game. Pun definitely intended. Voice acting is superb all throughout my experience, and not once did I feel that any of the voice actors were lacking in their work. Suffice to say, if you enjoy extensive dialogue, you should consider picking the game simply because of this. And that wraps up why I believe Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden is a highly underrated game. The overall package that you receive in this game is great value for money, let alone at a discount, which I purchased for around $25 during a Steam sale. Do keep in mind that I live in Southeast Asia, which has adjusted regional pricing, but I would say that at $30 to $40 or less, Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden is absolutely worth it. While the strong narrative and storytelling are the highlights of the game, the combat and exploration gameplay, appealing visuals, and great soundtrack and voice acting more than justify the game's asking price. Again, if you're sick and tired of being swindled by AAA slop, I urge you to support game developers that truly place their heart and soul into their games, such as Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. Truly, Don't Nod is an extremely underrated AA development team, and I for one became a fan of theirs through this game, and I am looking forward to their future titles. And that concludes this video. Thank you for watching, and do consider subscribing for more content. May you find the best loot in the game, and I will see you next time.